The OTK investigation on Mizkif has finally concluded, and chances are you already know the outcome, and you, like most other people, are not really happy with it. I have already seen a couple of reacts from people like Moist Critical and Ludwig about this statement, and I have to say, this statement is doing work. While most people are pointing out that the investigation has had absolutely no transparency, the big thing is that this statement is doing exactly what it has set out to do. Most people are unknowingly spreading the exact points that this thing wants you to spread. Now, from a manipulation standpoint, I will give this a solid 8 out of 10. Either this is a hired PR firm, or Asmongold had extreme oversight and thought quite long about what he should say and write in this statement, because it's pretty good. Most people are falling for it and talking about the exact things that this thing wants you to talk about it. Now, I have some pretty extensive and fruitful experience when it comes to human manipulation, and my life is pretty set and very good because of it. So I know deceptive speech when I see it. And let me tell you about this statement. It has the works in it. It has obfuscating speech, dual purpose wording, damage mitigation. It has everything inside of it. And this whole video is going to be us going sentence by sentence when I'm going to explain why certain words are placed in the places they are, why it is stated like it is, and what this all serves purpose. Like, you're probably going to be absolutely shocked when we start. Because I'm not kidding when I say this whole thing is a giant red flag. This first paragraph alone has, I think, 8 or something like that, ginormous red flags that all are used to manipulate and create a narrative. Essentially, they're leading. And when I say leading, I don't mean in the law legal word sense. I mean in the manipulation sense, leading. This whole thing is just a carefully crafted narrative designed to sell you an alternative world. It's insane. It's pretty good. And this is why I'm actually pretty happy about that we're gonna read this. So, without further ado, let's just jump into it, because we have a lot to cover here, boys. This is gonna be extremely technical, and pretty much only technical. So, yeah, props to Asmongold. I'm not gonna lie, you did a good job this time, my dude. You tried on this one. 10 out of 10. So, on September 20th, OTK began the process of contracting. This is the first part that we're gonna stop. September 20th matters a lot because OTK in Hull and Asmongold specifically are using this date as a knockoff point, because they used the fact that they have started an investigation as a get out of jail free card to give people an excuse why they can't speak on the ongoing matters, even though in legal terms they 100% could speak if they wanted to. It's just a useful getaway tool. And that happened on the 22nd September, if I'm not mistaken. So this is why they are stating when they began the process of contracting. Now, no investigation was on at that time. They just began the process of contracting. This is also, they have a way to weasel out of the fact that they did not speak about it, because they said it's an ongoing investigation, even though there's absolutely no chance. They just began the process of contracting a legal firm. But this is honestly the smallest thing ever compared to everything else that we're going to see here. So, moving onward, of contracting a third-party law firm. This is one of the big deceptive parts of the whole thing. They are using the word third party here, not as in a random party that just said, hey, you know what, we will handle this as a neutral standing force without anything to gain. No. They are using the term third party here as in OTK doesn't own the law firm Jason Walker, nor does Asmongold of any one of OTK own a part of Jason Walker, nor does their opposing side own any part of Jason Walker. This is how they are describing it as a third party. Because when you describe something as a third party, you are looking at it as something neutral. As in someone who does not care about who wins, who loses. They're just trying to figure out the facts. But in reality, they are just using it as a in the sense third party, as in no side owns this firm. But the reality is, OTK is directly hiring them and paying them for what they want. Investigated, looked into, or whatever. So this is extremely deceptive, and this is supposed to create trustworthiness in you, that this is someone who doesn't care. They're gonna find the truth. They are on no one's side, but in reality, they are doing what OTK tells them to do, because they are a law firm. To investigate the conduct and allegations. Conduct and allegations, this is a big thing. No one at first cared about the conduct. The word conduct here is to set up something that's going to be said further down the road. Because no one cared about the conduct at start. At the first, it was all about the allegations. The conduct will matter later on, and I will explain how it matters later on. In fact, pretty soon, the word conduct is going to contradict a statement that they do here later on. So the word conduct currently is just throw away, but it will become extremely important later on. Made against one of our founding members, Mizkif. There's nothing wrong with that. We proceeded to retain Jackson Walters LLP. They are using the word retain because they do not want to create a situation where people think that they are hiring Jackson Walker. Retain is a synonym for hire, aka they want to obfuscate the fact that they are paying someone to do what they want. So that's why they are using words like retain, third party. They want you to forget and embed the idea that Jackson Walker is a legitimate third party with nothing to gain in this situation. That they are going to be honest and they are under no one's supervision or behest. That is the whole reason of these first sentences. To establish the idea that this is just some random trustworthy company that's gonna check everything out and make sure that the truth is out there. Even though the reality is OTK is telling them what to do and paying them for the results. One of the largest and most experienced neutral investigative firms in our state. So here's two big things. Obviously, they are trying to create a sense of authority here. They're calling it the largest and most experienced firm, right? This is the setup that they are an authoritative figure and that you cannot question their results because they are huge and they are experienced. People, by definition, do not tend to question authority figures. And they are trying to establish that this firm is an authority in the field. And they are calling it a neutral investigative firm. Now, first they call it a law firm. And by the way, I checked out Jackson Walker's. It is a law firm. They are primarily a law firm. They will consult anyone who pays them in whatever kind of law things that they want to. They technically don't even do investigations like this. But as much as I understand from their mission statement, as long as you pay them, they are going to do it. Now, they're not going to do it as an investigation as I can understand it. I could be wrong here. But they are going to do it in a lawyer way. Firm in our state. A little bit of mistake, I will say, here is using the word state here. Country would be better, because as much as I can understand, Jackson Walker's is still pretty big, even when you compare it to the whole country, and it's pretty good. So yeah, they should have used the word country here. State, I think it's just because it's an American thing and they don't even see it from the European perspective, but I would definitely use the word country here. So asmongold, you minus 1 point for you. This is honestly a mistake that you did not say country. The scope of the investigation was to determine whenever or Mizkif attempted to cover up or mineralize SA allegedly committed by one of his former roommates. So again, minimizing damages. They're not gonna say Mizkif's best friend that he defended until his last breath, as we literally all know from the leaked Mizkif call. Mizkif at no point tried to do anything else but defend his friend, his best friend. So calling him a former roommate distances him, Mizkif, from the problem. Like, this was just some random guy that Mizkif not even full-heartedly defended. Again, extremely deceptive language. But again, this whole point is this. Jackson Walters was granted free rein to gather all relevant facts, interview witnesses. And this is big. So Jackson Walters was granted free rein. Free rein to gather all relevant facts. What is a relevant fact? No one knows. AKA, if they find out that Mizkif accidentally has deleted someone, that's not a relative fact. They're just gonna throw all that knowledge out the window. And they get to choose what is a relevant fact. And we can assume that they are going to be choosing what is a relative fact as a law firm based on the allegations or something like that. Essentially, here they have free rein to ignore everything that they want to ignore, everything that OTK says they shouldn't actually think about or ignore. A witness testimony from someone they don't like? Probably not relevant, who cares? Interview witnesses. Interview witnesses is also just... So this part right here is essentially to say that, hey, yeah, this third party that gains nothing from doing this, absolutely, trust me, bro, has absolute authority over everything. They're gonna check the facts. They're gonna interview the witnesses. They're gonna do all of this. In reality, if any witness says, I don't care, I don't want to speak to you, Jackson Walkers are powerless to do anything. They cannot force anyone to answer. So essentially, this has already been set up like this. When we're talking about the Mizkif situation, the most important people are Mizkif, the girl who got wronged, potentially, Maya, Barry, and Mitch. If Mizkif refuses to talk to them, tough shit. If Maya refuses to talk to them, again, if Barry and, forgot the fourth guy, Mitch, all refuse to talk to them, there's nothing they can do about it. They have no authority to force anyone to speak with them. Literally, they have no authority. And so, if no one speaks to them, well, they can't actually get anything out of it. So they can't prove anything. And there's a reason why I'm explaining this in this way, because this is where it's going to get spicy a little bit sooner. And advise OTK as to whatever evidence supported the allegations. So we have no idea what are the actual allegations that they are trying to look for. We don't actually know. Because as lawyers, there's an actual defined allegation that they are looking for. They're looking for, potential proof of X. And we have no idea what is X. And that's what OTK has told them. This is what you're going to look for. There's no way these lawyers just self-decided, hey, yeah, we're gonna look for this. Well, there's a chance that that's happening, but if that's happening like that, oh boy, is that bad. Mizkif was placed on unpaid leave for the duration of the investigation. Now, this doesn't even need to be here. This is just a throwaway line to make you understand that this is serious, and we did everything fast. We tried to do everything right. The moment this happened, Mizkif was on paid leave. During the investigation, Mizkif had no say, no anything. This is just to further make OTK look good. Absolutely no other reason to put it in here. And now this is going to get a little bit more juicy. According to Jason Walker's investigation counsel did not find direct evidence that Mizkif attempted to minimize or cover up SA as alleged. And this is the big one. Now, I'm going to say this flat out. I'm not a lawyer, and I honestly want a lawyer's opinion. I hope someone like Nate the lawyer looks at this, or Viva La Fry looks at this, because this is insane. And if anyone's saying this proves that Mizkif did nothing else, I just want to point out that you're stupid, and you do not deserve good things in your life, because you have no idea what was just said. I have these tabs specifically opened just because of this sentence. So, the big thing here is direct evidence. Direct evidence is an actual legal term. And you can read the examples. You can pause and read it. I'm going to explain it, what direct evidence means in the most easy to understand way. Direct evidence is when if someone deletes someone, you got video proof of him with the murder weapon, smiling at the camera, waving, telling that it was him who did it, telling his first name, last name, the weapon that they used, and flashing their ID and making sure that the camera gets both sides of his face. That is direct evidence. Direct evidence is the absolute highest form of scrutiny that can be used as evidence. And they concluded that there was no direct evidence. And this is where I want a lawyer to actually explain this. Because I am pretty sure, as much as I read about what is direct evidence and things that link to direct evidence and whatnot, I am pretty sure that in this situation, it's impossible to actually get direct evidence. It is impossible to get direct evidence that Mizkif minimized or covered up anything. The way that this thing is going, it is impossible to get that. And I know some people are going to say, oh, there's no direct evidence, so how can you say that he's guilty? A lot of court cases rule that people are going to go to prison without any single shred of direct evidence. You don't need direct evidence to say that someone is guilty. In a lot of court cases, enough circumstantial evidence is good enough. But here, Jackson Walkers is saying that Mizkif did nothing wrong because there is no direct evidence. And a lot of people are pointing out that this should be direct evidence. Now, if you don't know what this clip is, then, and here Mizkif literally blatantly downplays the essay. He says, oh, worst case, this is not essay. He just touched her while she was asleep. That's not essay. That is just harassment at the worst case. No one even cared who knew it, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, a lot of people are saying, isn't that direct evidence? And as much as I understand it, while this does seem like pretty much direct evidence in the first place, if a lawyer asks Mizkif, did you say it, and he says yes, and then proceeds to ask a question, do you mean what you said? And Mizkif just says, well, no, and doesn't even elaborate further, this cannot even be considered direct evidence because there is doubt in it. Because if you can introduce doubt, that it's not no longer direct evidence, technically. So, Mizkif just saying, I didn't actually mean it like that, is enough to make any evidence not direct evidence. So, this is absolutely insane. Attempted to minimize as alleged. Nevertheless, OTK believes that Mizkif has shown callous disregard towards the severity of misconduct. Why did I want to say whatever? Misconduct and racial prejudice in our space. And this is why it matters here. Because this is the part where conduct matters. Now, conduct and allegations already were going against this because they could pretty clearly state what was the purpose of this investigation, and nothing mentions conduct here. You see, this is the thing. The scope of the investigation was to determine whether Mizkif attempted to cover up or minimize SA allegations. And that is all under allegations. There is actually no conduct that this firm potentially investigated, because here they say they contracted them. Well, I'm gonna say paid because again, contract is what they want you to use, so it doesn't seem like they paid this firm to do their bidding. This is the part. So this is not conduct. This is allegations. They paid Jackson Walker to investigate the allegations, not the conduct. But here they mention conduct. The reason conduct matters is because they want to introduce you to this word, because this is what matters. Because obviously people are gonna literally freak out if Mizkif just is absolutely not punished in any way. So here's where the conduct matters. Because OTK believes that Mizkif has shown callous disregard towards the severity of misconduct and racial prejudice in our space. His statements regarding the matter on his comeback stream on October 11th demonstrate a lack of empathy and ignorance toward this seriousness of the situation and the impact that his conduct has on our community. Essentially, they are trying to make it seem that Mizkif is being punished in some way because he was not right in this situation. If he doesn't get a slap on the wrist for something, the outrage would be bigger. But if he gets some kind of form of slap on the wrist, then, at least justice was done, am I right? Due to his actions, the OTK board of directors, aka asmongold himself, because there is no world, again I will repeat this, where asmongold does not hold 51% of OTK. AKA Asmongold does not need the board of directors approval for any action that he chooses to take. He can take any action, and everyone in OTK must follow it because he holds 51% minimum of the company, so he can make unanimous decisions. But that's just a small fact that maybe some people do not know. Mizkif has suspended Mizkif from his board duties effective immediately. Oh no. So, this also, by the way, means that previously Mizkif was not suspended from his board duties? I thought he was, but now they're saying that due to this, Mizkif is now suspended from his board duties immediately. They're not saying that he was suspended in the past. In this statement, they are pretty clearly saying that he is suspended now. I thought he was suspended previously. So that's also a very good question. And he will be placed on monitored probation until he demonstrates to the board that he is capable of holding the organization's values. His status as an OTK member has otherwise been reinstated. I like how they just say this because there's nothing to talk about here a lot. This just needs to be said. And the more throwaway place it is, the better it is. Honestly, they should have put this the last sentence. But yeah, essentially, Mizkif is on some kind of magical probation that no one understands how it works, that he will obviously pass with flying colors, and he's already back in OTK because who honestly cares, right? OTK stands firm against SA assaults, bigotry of all forms, and is committed to upholding its core values and qualities, respect and inclusivity. We appreciate the support our community through this process, and will continue working tirelessly to ensure our organization can be proud of. What a statement. What an absolute statement. Oh, also, did I mention that this was dropped in the time period that the least amount of people would notice it and check it out? AKA, literally New Year's? Literally exactly after asmongold finishes streaming, so no one can even ask him questions about this. At the most best moment, when the least people see it, dropped. It's amazing. Oh, And yeah, people are, needless to say, pissed about it. And a lot of people who are saying things like, oh, it's a third party investigating them, that's bullshit. It's a it's a law firm that Asmongold has contracted to do what he wants them to do. Also, this is my speculation, but it seems pretty good. The girl who alleged all of this, I forgot her name sadly, but the girl that alleged all of this has already met with these lawyers. So essentially, I would not be surprised if part of their work was try to intimidate her so she does not say anything damaging, and all this is swept under the rug as much as possible, because she turns out has had multiple meetings with them and so on. AKA, she also had a meeting with them before the New Year's, around that time, a month or something like that, where they most likely already gave her a heads up and gave her a pep talk. Essentially, I would not be surprised if the girl who alleged these things against Mizkif has been intimidated by the lawyers. Not saying in a direct fashion, but most likely they have given her the pep talk of what kind of bad things can happen now that their investigation has concluded, that Mizkif, our boy, our wonderful golden boy, is 100% absolved of all travesties that you have said against him. That could lead potentially to a lawsuit because you're slandering him at this point, and so on and so on. You know, not a direct threat or anything like that, but you don't need to directly threaten someone to make a point like that extremely clear by just explaining what could potentially happen if you speak out against this in a too big of a form or something like that. Now, that's just my personal speculation, but I would not be surprised. Because, in my opinion, Asmongold is definitely someone who will try to threaten someone with some kind of legal action or whatever if he knows that he can get away with it. Would absolutely, completely fits his character that we have seen. So, this was pretty wild, huh? An absolute, again, a solid 8 out of 10. Asmongold, 2 thumbs up, my dude. You actually did well. Because the reason why I make Asmongold videos is not because he's a heinous manipulator that abuses people. I don't care about that. I care about the fact that he's shit at it, clearly, visibly bad at it, and people are still eating it up and begging for more. That's what I don't like about it. I don't care if someone's too fucking stupid and eats up what Asmongold does. I care about the fact that he's not competent and it's working out for him. But anyway, that's pretty much it. What are your thoughts? Can't wait to see the people who are just gonna say, but they said there's no evidence. Because people are gonna say there's no evidence. Because they're not gonna understand that the direct evidence is a specific law term. That doesn't mean that there's no evidence. That means that there's no direct evidence. The highest form of scrutiny was not found in a situation where most likely it's impossible to find. What a world we live in. Anyway, like and subscribe. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.